Hey everybody, welcome to Comic Book Curation Live. I am Polydub, and I am joined, as always, by Inquisitor 8.1. Quiz, how are you on this spooky All Hallows Eve?
I'm terrified.
Of?
No.
Oh, just generally. Fair enough.
Yeah, in general.
Okay. Jack, how are you?
I'm all right.
And what are
How
you
are you?
terrified of?
I don't know. Higher tax brackets.
Oh.
Raising comic book prices.
That just enrages me.
Yeah.
So we have it's been an interesting day. Are you guys doing anything Halloweeny tonight? Are you going to read some spooky horror comics? You going to do anything?
I already did all my Halloween activities.
Oh, really? So
Yeah.
you're drunk?
No, I don't drink.
Like period, or just not on Halloween?
My sponsor would not approve.
Oh, okay.
But no, I went ghost hunting with a couple of my friends, which is a lot like walking around in the dark talking to yourself.
Is
Like
that
a
what you
lot.
call stealing candy from kids?
No, that's called rolling the bums.
Okay.
It's just
All right.
like when you get pocket change off homeless people.
See, I'm trying to talk people, some of the minions, and those who don't know, minions are a group that we all belong to, or Jack pretends, he kind of comes and goes, drifts in and out as he does.
I make cameo appearances.
Yeah, you interloper. Yeah. I was trying to talk some of the minions into watching Halloween, 1978 Halloween tonight. And I gotta go to bed, and I can understand that, the whole work thing in the morning, but
Whatever.
Yeah, I know, whatever, right? I mean, I don't have to be up until noon, so I'm totally cool.
It's a holiday. You're supposed to have the day off.
Who is it that asked that yesterday? I think it was Zelthor. He's like, but like, isn't like Halloween like a government federal holiday? And I was like, what?
It should be.
You're right.
Absolutely.
Shady, man. This is the bitches be live, bitches and hoes. You guys suck. Fuck you. Like, what the hell is it with you, Shady?
Just because I'm a hoe doesn't mean that I'm a bad person.
And Rajan's like, about time, Paulie. Dang, near fell asleep. And feel free to tweet at Renting Monkey. It was his suggestion that we start never on time as our shtick.
Yeah, it's a shtick and not just us always running late.
What? He is a far more experienced streamer than I, and both he and Irate Bear suggested that could be our style, to never start on time, to be a little bit random. And
to be fair, Rajan, if you want to fall asleep, that's cool. Just be sure and hit the like button and share.
Yeah. If you are going to fall asleep, please hit that like button.
I will
hey,
lull
Johnny
you
Hellcat's
into sleep.
Hey, Johnny.
Hey, Johnny.
So we are, let me hit the like button. I have no shame. I'll like my own stream. Damn it.
I'll balance it out and hit that dislike button.
Did you hit the dislike button?
Maybe.
You did. I just saw it. You fucker. So we have a number of stories. Should we start off with our lead right off the beginning, or maybe wait for a few more people to pile in before I start my rant about the things that have been done to that umbrella guy?
Poor Tug.
Yeah, poor Tug. Let's get into that in a minute. Let's start off with the things that aren't comic book stories, just to kind of lay the groundwork. I mean, they're pop culture stories, and this is a comic book stream. Yes, it is, but I can't help but mention some of these things. The Ben and Jerry's, man. Ben and Jerry's resist flavor. I mean, they're already being memed. Hold on, let me screen share here. I love the share. There it is. I mean, look at that ice cream tub. It's like this. She's got purple hair. The guy, I think that's a guy off to the left, has blue hair.
It's like the 70s threw up on it.
It's yesterday, Ben and Jerry's announced a new flavor, pecan resist. It's the activism themed flavor. Okay, let's just stop right there.
No, if they were smart, it'd be Rocky Road Resist and Pecan Pussy Hat.
Pecan pussy hat. That's pretty good. But I mean, the activism themed flavor, help me understand that, guys. Like, come up with something. Devil's advocate it. What does that even mean?
So the activism flavor is the flavor of body odor at urine and trash. Just like Occupy.
It seems to work. It's chocolate ice cream with 2 types of fudge. That doesn't seem very diverse.
Is one of them butt fudge?
It could be. And it's 3 kinds of nuts. And as Jim Healis observed in the Monkey Stream this morning, should we read anything into the fact that the resist flavor is chocked full of nuts?
I think it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah. And in addition to sending a message with its name, the company will be supporting 4 different organizations that are, quote, fighting the Trump administration's regressive and discriminatory policies. And this is a Mary Sue article, as you can see. And boy, are people mad. Are they mad, or are they just what in the ever-loving fuck?
Now, if I take a little tub of that and put it on a girl's forehead, does that count as teabagging? Because there are nuts inside.
Yes.
Awesome.
Awesome.
And these old hippies need to stop, man. Just make your damn ice cream. Stop trying to be cool and edgy. You're not good at it. This looks terrible. Sounds kind of disgusting. I don't know what they're thinking.
Like, so it's chocolate fudge, another kind of fudge, 2 types of nuts plus pecan nuts, whatever, however you want it said. That doesn't sound like a good ice cream to me. It just sounds
sounds gross.
Don't the nuts have to go in the mouth? Yeah, Johnny, they do. It just okay. You know what? They talk about like politics don't belong in comic books. At least those are. You can make an argument that sure they do. You can have political commentary and social satire and all sorts of things. It's a storytelling medium. These 2 old hippies. You're making fucking frozen cream, guys.
You're making ice cream and you're trying to make it political. That is quite literally like there's no commentary you can make with ice cream, dude.
No, it's lazy slacktivism.
Yeah, it's as far as you could go into something not related. Like I'm trying to think of something more out. Well, remember Starbucks with their Race Together cups?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're going to bring about social unity by writing Race Together on your coffee cups? I don't get. Yeah, I'm having a hard time following it.
People are just trying too hard. They want to jump on the bandwagon of looking edgy and fighting against the man, but they are the man. So you can't fight against yourself. So they have these half-ass attempt at looking edgy, and it just falls flat every time. It looks like you're trying too hard.
So in messing around on the Mary Sue as I do, because they are an endless mine of comedy gold, I came across another story that like isn't directly comics related. I mean, it kind of isn't at all, but I don't give a fuck. It's Halloween. I'm going to have fun and do what I want. This article, suspected bomber Sayok sent hundreds of threats online and Twitter didn't do anything about it.
Twitter didn't do nothing.
Well,
oh wait, that's the wrong. Didn't do nothing. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, he's not a didn't do. He's a did do.
But Twitter didn't do.
What kills me about this is the thrust of this article, as they wrote it, is Twitter should have banned this guy because he was saying things that should have been understood as hateful or harassing. Now, he wasn't saying I'm going to fucking kill somebody, at least not all the time. But people do say I'm going to fucking kill you, and Twitter doesn't ban them. So, what's new about that? And what I find interesting is they actually CNN writes that Don Lemon and contributor Anna Navarro both said that Twitter was so bad with dealing dealing with reports of threats made against them that they rarely report it. I mean,
well, if you don't report it, they're not going to do anything.
Happen, yeah, exactly.
Well, but they have the idea being that they have reported it, Don Lemon and Anna Navarro, and it's that you are two of the most race baiting, shit disturbing, divisive people on cable news right now. Like, worst journalist of the year, Don Lemon, who was the worst journalist of the year in 2014, according to Columbia Journalism School. This guy is as bad as it gets, and he's complaining that Twitter's bad with the harassing things that are said about me. Like, the threats that they talk about, someone would say, like, why don't you get your dumb ass off my television set or something like that? Like, don't you realize you're like, they consider that to be a threat. You know, then on occasion they will get a threat. You know what? People get threatened all the time on Twitter. Now, why I'm bringing this up is Gab now is associated with this, is getting shut down and screwed over in 35 different directions because of, what's his name? Whatever. The guy who, let's fuck his name.
Scumbag.
Scumbag. Yeah, scumbag. The scumbag who shot up the synagogue, right? Because he was on there. And the first thing he said that was related, that was even threatening, was, fuck the optics, I'm going in. Right? And
he did that 2 minutes before he started shooting people. They didn't have time to do anything about it.
Right now, has anybody called for Twitter to be shut down? Because, you know, he was up on there, and Sayak was up on. Well, that's what I mean, and people are up on Twitter. It's just that they're focusing on Gab as being, oh well, this has got to be a place where psychos congregate. Well, here's the part of this article that caught my attention. CNN writes that in this instance, Twitter may well have provided Cynic with the material that radicalized him and stood idly by as that radicalization led to hundreds of threats. But the CEO of a site that tracks disinformation online told CNN that Twitter is by design a radicalization machine. The ability to become entrenched in a bubble of fringe communities, as well as the Twitters. But I found that fascinating. The ability to become entrenched in a bubble. You mean like people that follow the Krasensteins?
Oh, no. See, the bubble only applies to people they don't like.
See, and there's a rare moment of wisdom from the Mary Sue here. It's almost as if Twitter might be bad for us.
You don't.
You think, Mary Sue? You think? Because you guys aren't afraid of using Twitter in that way to promote your message, but that's not a bubble. That's just promoting progressive truth, right? Anyways, enough of the non-comic stuff, guys. Let's move on to well, I'm not going to say fun things, but let's move on to things that are more related to our theme here. I don't know. What should we go with first? Oh, I know.
Hentai?
No, not hentai.
Oh, you weren't saying anything, so I had to guess.
The Arrowverse is setting up for a queerer future for its characters.
Oh my god.
I love this picture because it's like, hi, we're stupid. Like, that's what she seems to be saying here.
She looks like she has downs.
What? They started off so good with Arrow.
Uh-huh.
In my opinion, Arrow is still the only one worth watching.
Not for long.
Oh my god. Well, the Arrowverse is different than Arrow.
It'll be all of them. Don't worry. They're apparently this new crossover they're doing is going to bring Supergirl into, like, they're going to merge the universes.
Yeah, doing the whole crisis thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what we have down here, where was the part that caught my attention? Nora and William are queer. In last week's Arrow, a flash forward with William mentioned her ex-boyfriend, blah, 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 blah. This week's flash has Nora commenting on the villain of the week's attractiveness and later flirting with her, something it ironically takes Barry a bit too long to really pick up on. Despite how children, golden geese, With the children of DC TV's two golden geese confirmed queer, the overall message seems to be clear. The Arrowverse's future is going to be much more queer than how it started out.
Okay, no. Okay. William is supposed to be the Arrow's allegory for fucking Connor Hawke, which they already had Connor Hawke in an episode, like a flash forward episode of Legends of Tomorrow. Okay, so Connor Hawke is Oliver's son, and in the comics, Connor Hawke actually had a romantic relationship with Mia Dearden. All right, he's not gay. If they
no, that doesn't matter. You know that.
Ugh. These people don't read comics, and it pisses me off.
Well, even the people writing comics half the time don't read comics. That's why we end up with seeing Arcade and Taskmaster every other issue and everything Marvel.
Yeah.
Hey.
Well, Johnny Hellcat.
You leave Gabby Rivera out of this. She doesn't need to read comics to write comics. Thing.
Johnny Hellcat said the Flash season 3 was so filled with feminist cringe. If I heard another #feminism, I was going to put my head through a wall. Yes, I agree. Flash has been getting worse with every season. The first season, okay. Same with Supergirl. When Supergirl was on CBS, it was okay with one season, and they put it over on the CW, and it became feminist bullshit.
Because CW is SJW. It's not CW.
Yeah, exactly. Like, Arrow is the only one that has retained any sort of composure throughout all of this. Like, I can't remember. It was last season. I think it was season 6 or 7 of Arrow. They made a joke at Wild Dog's expense, where he said something that could get the high-powered female attorney mad at him, and he goes, "Well, I'm a feminist like that," and he just kind of looks around all shady, like that's gonna, pave over the problem. That was the only time where I sat there and said, "Ha, that's a joke at feminism's expense." No other fucking TV show on CW's lineup has done something like that. Everything else has been all pro-feminist.
And they probably fired the writer that slipped that one in.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, I don't really watch any of these shows anymore because they are so heavily dependent on jamming in political messaging. I can't deal with it. I just don't want to waste my time on it.
Like, I used to really love Arrow. Like, I used to watch it religiously. Every single Wednesday, I would make sure that I would, I'd be up and I'd watch it. But, God damn it, have they just been miring it down with bullshit.
It's the way of all entertainment now.
The best inclusion of the concept of feminism in a show I've ever heard. It wasn't comics related, but it was in True Detective season 2, which if you haven't watched, you got to. It's awesome. You have these two characters, and they're driving in a car, two police detectives. Ray Velcoro says to Bezarides, the other detective, "So why do you carry all the knives?" And she says, "The fundamental difference between the two genders is that one of them can kill the other with their bare hands if they want to. Do you think any man would be able to do their job knowing that? Because any man who puts his hands on me is going to bleed out in 30 seconds flat." And Velcoro just kind of like, whoa. And he looks out the window and looks back at her and says, "Well, just so you know, I support feminism. Mostly by having body image issues."
I would have just been like, "What, you're trying to turn me on and so I don't murder you? That's weird."
There is one gender that can kill the other with its bare hands and can't do anything about it. It's women, because men can't hit back. Otherwise, they're going to be the ones that are going to be thrown in jail. Thank you, Duluth model.
Come on. We all know you're getting thrown in jail either way. They're going to arrest somebody, and is it going to be her?
Yeah.
But you guys took that in a weird direction. I thought Velcoro's joke about his own body image issues was hilarious. You guys really went to the Duluth model over that?
Yes.
Yeah, well,
The Duluth model is ancient history and is buried in the dirt where feminism belongs. Then, we're going to not bring it up.
The Duluth model's been replaced with the Bechdel test. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. You know what I just noticed? Look at this. CBR exclusive. Zoe Quinn enters the comics industry with Vertigo's Goddess Mode. You want to read it?
No.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm sure.
Oh, come on.
How angry are you trying to make us? It's one of the greatest days of the year.
It might be porn. Oh no, it's not porn.
Everything.
Oh God, look how long it is as she drivels.
Yeah, page 2.
At its core, goddess mode is about how we're all messed up, and that's fine. You're messed up, honey. Quit projecting.
Wait, is there a variant cover of Goddess Mode #1 that's just Robbie's butt? They call it the Brown Eye Special.
What the hell does this say? Something that I'm really loving about the creative process is getting back art from Robbie, the butthole, and colorist Rico Renzi. And it's like, oh my God, that looks so cool. Are you serious? That came out of us? Ah.
That came out of us. There's a sentence that could go in all kinds of directions.
Right?
Yeah,
it's given me feelings that I haven't had since back when I was in shitty riot girl bands like 20 years too late as a teenager. It's like that kind of cool jamming back and forth. I love it. Oh, shut up. Yeah, we'll let's just leave
everything about Zoe Quinn is a vapid, condescending, know nothing.
Well, there goes Quiz's channel. It was good knowing you, bud.
We rarely knew thee.
My God.
Well, his resurgence will be like Mundane Matt.
Hey, here's the major difference between me and Mundane Matt. I don't take myself so damn seriously that I'm going to flag people.
Yeah, and I've never felt the need to want to punch you.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, hey, Straight Sith Males here. How's it going?
Hey, Straight.
Oh, and Blind Rambler. Nice.
Hey, Rambler.
All kinds of people here. God, man, that I didn't notice it. That CBR article, the interview with Zoe Quinn was there. But okay, guys, let's just keep piling up the evidence. We all know this is the case, but why not keep the list going? They're show websites. They're there to promote certain people doing certain things. It's a CBR exclusive. That's what CBR is there for.
Well, didn't you see that the owner of CBR donated $250 to Mark Wade's GoFundMe?
Yes, and as did the owners of help me out here. Bleeding Cool. Thank you. And everyone's favorite weirdo cat lady, Renfamous, was in there. Dude, it was like a list of who's who of Anti-Comicsgate. For those of you guys who don't know, we kind of just went, oh, hey, Mustafa's here.
Hey, Mustafa.
Mustafa, you can't call us heathens. You're the heathen. We've already been over this, man.
I'm an infidel, thank you.
I'm just kidding, Mustafa. I'm tolerant of heathens.
I'm going to call you all Xeno-sympathizing heretics because, Samhain is the name of a Craft World Eldar group.
What did you just say? Was it?
He's talking about 40K again.
Oh. I was like, dude, what the fuck? I totally lost the plot on that one. Okay, speaking of losing the plot, what were we just talking about?
World's named after the fucking solstice holidays, all right?
What do you...
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Samhain is when the boundaries between the spiritual realm and the earth realm come together. They close this.
Halloween 3! I love it.
Have you guys been taking your medication today? What's going on?
We're talking about Samhain.
No,
See, you said happy Samhain, heathens.
You know what that's a reference for because I know for a fact that you watched the Cinema Snob.
Yeah.
You had to have seen his review of Halloween 3.
Yeah, I watched the whole Halloween series, but I don't remember that specific. I watched Brad Jones's entire Halloween series, but I don't recall that specific part.
Well, I think that was actually an 80s Dan. I'm not sure if it was a Cinema Snob or not.
Okay.
But yeah, they make a big deal out of the monologue there about the Samhain is the Irish holiday, or the blurring of the lines between the regular world and the spiritual world. And it's like during that whole montage where like people's faces are melting and like maggots are crawling out of the masks and shit.
Okay, Jesus Christ. All right. Speaking of losing the plot, what were we talking about? I was going somewhere with something. I mean, it wasn't a terribly important place, but it was somewhere. What were we talking about? Chat, help us out here.
It's this wee stuff. I'm all about talking about Sawan now.
Yeah, I know, right?
No, prior to Sawan, Mustafa, you showed up and just screwed us right up, man. What the hell?
This
brother?
wee stuff. I'm like, oh, he's talking about Sawan. Sweet.
Yeah.
I'd like to talk about some Halloween type stuff. I get my gourds all carved up to throw at children so they'll get off my lawn.
CBR being trash. See,
Yeah.
Johnny Hellcat.
Oh.
There. Thank you very
That's
much.
right.
That's what we were talking about. For those of you who don't know, we were trying to explain some inside Comicsgate baseball to them, man.
Oh, you were talking about people giving to Mark Waid's GoFundMe.
Right.
That's right.
So, for those of you who don't know, let's give the ultra fast TLDR on this one. Diversity in Comics, Richard C. Meyer put together a independent indie comic called Jawbreakers and went to Antarctic Press, a small press in Texas, to get it published. The day he announced it, a very well-known and resourceful, like meaning he knows lots of people, has been in the industry for a long time, guy by the name of Mark Waid decided to, who hates diversity in comics, who's very anti-Comicsgate, who's very, he claims to be pro-LGBT, POC, et cetera, calls up Antarctic Press and gangsters them right out of it. Says, you know, hey, it's a nice press you guys have here. It'd be a shame if you got associated with a white nationalist alt-right scumbag like Richard Meyer. You know, you're going to get, you've really angered a lot of people in the comics industry by doing this, and convinces him to break his contract with Richard Meyer, threatens him into it, scares him into it, whatever you want. That's really fucked up. Richard Meyer subsequently sues him for tortious interference, so like contractual interference, and for a minimum of 75 grand, but probably more in federal court. Mark Waid immediately starts up a GoFundMe to pay for my legal fees in this big battle. You should read the crap that this guy put forward. Anyway, everybody who showed up to fund him were the who's who of Anti-Comicsgate. Not the entire comics industry. All of the vocal Anti-Comicsgate people in the industry showed up to fund him.
Yeah.
And of course, the people that aren't in the industry, the hangers-ons, who I think are the worst shit disturbers of them all, the Renfamouses, and I hate to give her name voice. I hate to even call on her name because she's such a weird cat lady. She's not in the comic book industry. She doesn't buy comics. Guys, do you even think she likes comics?
No.
Can I want to demonstrate something real quick here.
Sure. Yeah.
Here's Mark Waid's GoFundMe at $71,967. And here's Richard Meyer's at $100,681.
Also,
in 3 days.
Thank you. I was just saying, click back and forth and show the difference in time, how long it took for. Look at
Wade's has been up for 6 days. He's got 71, almost 72 grand.
Yes.
Richards has been up for 3 days. The Ethan Van Sciver put up, and he's over 100 grand, almost 101.
That is awesome.
This is like GoFundMe is supposed to be crowdfunding. Mark Waid's is industry funded.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well,
Myers
he said
true crowdfunding, man. It's people that are just like, no, fuck you. You tried screwing up this guy's contract. The argument from the beginning was Richard C. Meyer, Diversity in Comics is his channel. You don't like our stuff, you criticize our stuff, then go make your own comic. Okay, he did. And Mark Waid comes out of the woodwork to screw him over.
Look at how many people have liked this. Is 1,600 here and some change. And this one is 1,200. So Richard's got more money with fewer likes.
And to make
to be
a
fair,
point,
somebody did donate 12 grand to Richard.
It's
one person.
Oh yeah, one person came out of the woodwork with an incredibly generous donation of 12 fucking grand, man. That's awesome. And if you look at those two pictures, Jack, if you throw them back up, it's kind of a minor side point, but one that I get a lot of entertainment out of. Mark Waid. This guy, now this is an old picture of him when he looked much younger. Now he's older and much more balding, and he never smiled. This is a weird point of him smiling. Like this, so this guy said, if I hear that Richard Meyer showing up at New York Comic Con, and even if I'm on a panel, I want you to come get me because I'm going to confront him. He sent this out like for other people to do. Now let's take a look at a picture of Richard C. Meyer real quick. That's the guy he wanted to physically confront.
Mark Waid's like a foot shorter too.
I was just like, and Zach is also a former Marine.
Yeah.
Destroy Mark Waid.
Look at that. Like,
out of shape gnome, former military, looks like a serial killer.
Like, dude, Richard C. Meyer, would you fuck with that guy? Look at that. That's the grizzled look of a soldier right there, man.
Yeah,
don't mess with that guy.
He looks tough. He's got a like kind of a badass haircut. Like somebody with that haircut, you don't start crap with. Because if he doesn't care about his hair that much, he's gonna hurt you like a lot.
It's like, okay, Mustafa asked a great question. So why is Mark so hungry for an ass whooping? That's a great question, and I can't give the ultimate answer, but here's my best guess. These people really do confuse Twitter with the real world.
It's sorry, go ahead, Quiz.
Well, my best guess would be the fact that they've been in power for so long that they don't know how to deal with dissenting point of views, especially popular dissenting point of views. Like Mark Waid is to the point where, you know, he's had so much people kissing his ass for so long that when, you know, now people are saying, you know, fuck that guy, he doesn't know what the fuck to do. And especially considering that now the people supporting him are in the minority.
I would actually go a step further and say it's zealotry. They actually almost have like a religious belief that they are right. They have a holy crusade against these Comicsgate people. That's how they view it. It's through that almost religious lens of like a Puritan or a Quaker kind of fundamentalist. That sort of level of adherence to their ideology.
Yeah.
And
like,
a funny thing that Rakita Law is somebody who he's a lawyer out of Minnesota, I'm going to say, I believe.
Yes.
Okay. He has his own practice, small practice up at Nick Rakita is his name. Rakita Law is his small firm. And he weighs in on this stuff to kind of like offer an actual informed legal opinion as opposed to some of the assholes who talk like they're internet lawyers when they're totally not.
Yeah.
Some of his insights are fascinating. Like the $75,000, people were like, is that all Richard Meyer is asking for? It's like, no, that's the minimum you have to ask for to have it be in the federal system.
Federal, yeah.
Yeah, no, and the reason why it's federal is because Mark Waid is based out of California and Richard Meyer is based out of Texas. So it has to be federal because it can't be state.
Cross state lines.
Right. And
he could sue him in state court under different statutes, but he'd get more money by going to federal, and it's a much more intense penalty. Breaking news: Mark Waid just crossed over to 72,000.
Oh! Now that number of 75,000 that Mark Waid is asking for is interesting because it's the exact amount that was the minimum that Richard Meyer was asking for in his lawsuit. Nick Rakita poses this interesting idea, and it's now being bandied about. Like the whole reason that he's asking for that specific amount is like they're going to ask to settle, and with a non-disclosure agreement attached to the settlement of can't say what it was about. You asked for 75 grand. Here's your 75 grand. And this is the end of it. And don't talk about it. And Meyer doesn't have the money to fight it out the whole way, like the legal fees. Well, now he does. And
yeah, this is just 3 days. He got 100 grand in a week. It'll probably be 150.
Yeah. And that is awesome because it's like Richard Meyer wants to take it to trial. Like, so all of the stuff about Mark Waid has a history of temper tantrums and people calling 911 on him and smashing things, and like the anecdotes and the stories that can be backed up by the 911 calls that Ethan Van Sciver was showing the logs of on his channel. Like, Waid is a temper tantrum baby that freaks the fuck out and does stuff out of emotion and has gotten away with it for years and years. up until the point where, look, somebody's actually taken him to court over this shit and is doing so very publicly. Wow. Like, oh,
Yeah, I mean,
hey, Peter, how's it going?
if you know the dates on this stuff, it's all public record. You could go to any police department and request this stuff and say, hey, I want a copy of this 911 transcript from this day on this incident involving these people. If you have that information, you can get that. It's public record. That's why Rakita's getting it for Van Sciver, because he can do that. Anybody can. You just have to contact the police and say you want that information.
What's interesting is that the GoFundMe page that Jack was just showing, if you read the description under Myers, it's, I'm suing him for this and for the reasons that I just said, tortious interference and slander. The guy said I was associated with white nationalist groups, which is like, okay, now that's a factual claim. Go ahead and prove that. Richard Meyer has no association with white nationalist groups. What the fuck are you talking about? That's just slander. You're trying to make him sound bad. He slandered me and he interfered with a contract I had with Antarctic Press. It cost me untold amounts of money, and so now I'm going to sue him over that. It's very clear when you read it. When you read Mark Waid's GoFundMe page, it doesn't even reference any of the things that the case is over or why he's being sued. It just says, hi, I'm Mark Waid. In September this year, I was sued by one of the perceived leaders of a relentless online harassment movement called Comicsgate, which I and many comic professionals strongly feel has unfairly and offensively targeted women, people of color, LGBTQ plus creators working in our community in an effort to make them feel unwelcome. If you believe as I do that women and people of color deserve to be able to do their jobs or any job without being bullied, donate. Stand with me if you believe that someone's gender or sexual preference should have no bearing on their career that they pursue. Donate. Send that message. This isn't about me. It's about standing together in the face of bullying. Every day that we don't push back against online harassment, it only becomes nastier and more powerful.
Okay, no.
What does that have to do with anything? Over
The only person who was harassing in that entire campaign was Mark Waid.
Yeah.
If you donate to Mark Waid, you're actually enabling online harassment.
Personally, I can't imagine a world of no bearing.
Yeah, no, neither can I. I love Bearing. He's great.
Seems like a nice guy.
I'm going to take this quick moment to remind anybody in chat and anyone who's listening in the future that if you like this material, please feel free to like, subscribe, and share. Grabbing the link there from the little share button beneath the window and sending it on Twitter would be greatly appreciated. You guys are awesome. I wanted to move on to something that, well, these two guys don't care about it, but I do. So I'm going to talk about it. See, Star Trek hasn't been doing very well lately. And
oh, is this that Mary Sue article? I'm sorry, Polly.
Well, things we saw today. Star Trek hints at Megan Fox joining the franchise, and we're hyped. Oh no. Oh god. Like, can you make it worse? Like, can you just stop fucking with my beloved Star Trek, would you?
Oh, we're way past that.
I mean, when the Mary Sue is cheering on Megan Fox being associated with, like, but that's what bugs me about the Mary Sue and all of these hangers-ons, the Renfamises of the world. They don't watch Star Trek. They don't read comics. They don't go see these movies. They do only to find problems with them and write about them. They're professionally offended.
Yeah. I'm just gonna do a quick little head count here. I just went on to the Mary Sue. Here, this might be a fairly interesting little bit, so I might share this screen. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna look at something here. Okay. I went over here to the little search icon and I typed in Warhammer. Let's see the results for Warhammer. Not my God Emperor. Why are there so many actual fascists in the Warhammer 40k fandom? In the grim darkness of the Warhammer 40k's far future, there are only men, and it's terrible. It looks about it. Anything else just seems to be examining authoritarianism and superhero fiction. Get fucked.
Jesus.
Have they ever read the background for 40K?
I don't know, but that's all I really see for actual Warhammer. All of this stuff, I don't see actual anything from Warhammer in it. But now let's look at Star Trek. Search results for Star Trek. Things we saw today. Star Trek hints at Megan Fox joining the franchise, and we're hyped. I can't wait for the new Star Trek animated comedy to beam down.
Oh, now
Carl
it's gonna
Urban
be funny.
Gives us hope to us all. Thinks Chris Pine will return to Star Trek. Things we saw today. The cast of Star Trek Next Generation reunited for dinner. You can't just drop Chris Pine. Expect Star Trek 4 to do well. How Star Trek boldly
Chris Pine is awesome.
Warped away from toxic masculinity, the original series.
It warped away from toxic masculinity, guys.
Star Trek Deep Space Nine could have ended very differently. Yeah, I was say Star Trek has infinitely more than Warhammer. But at least they're not calling you a fascist for liking it.
Well, okay. Hammer showed up, and he... The first time I remember Hammer commenting on a comic book curation stream, he's got to say something like that. Star Trek is doing just fine. It's on Fox Friday nights. It goes by the name of the Orville. Yeah, which is exactly proof that Seth MacFarlane has no imagination, is completely derivative in anything and everything he does. But you're right. The best things about Star Trek have been moved over to the Orville. Like the people who actually own the IP of Star Trek have forgotten what makes their shit great. You know, you're not wrong.
No, they remember. They just don't like any of it because it's all colonialist and patriarchal, and they have to deconstruct everything and either turn it into a crappy comedy or change it to be more progressive.
To go back, a little bit of a callback to earlier in the stream here. Talk about another person that needs to have less yes men in his life. Just like Mark Waid has no one telling him no, which is the reason why he's able to throw temper tantrums in his office and people just shrug it off. Seth MacFarlane needs to have a stop it, that's dumb editor.
He needed that like 10 years ago.
Everything he does, regardless of what, basis it is, whether it's Orville, Family Guy, Cleveland Show, American Dad, all of it is derivative and unfunny. Everything. He needs to stop. Where's my filthy Frank? It's time to stop.
Where are your parents?
Who are your parents? I need to call Child Protective Services. You need to stop.
Okay, let's before we Street Sith Mail doesn't, Star Trek is gay. We don't want to be
Hammer. I'm not saying you're wrong, but I'm not saying that you're right.
Star Trek is not gay. Star Trek has become gay in the hands of the people that currently. It would be like saying Star Wars is gay. It's just
now.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's been ruined by the people who have, wrested control of it, and it's frustrating.
Yeah. They're both one Lena Dunham away from being completely unwatchable.
Guys, did you know Hammer has been stalking us?
I don't care. He's cool.
Hammer is always here. He just doesn't talk much. Kind of like that guy looking in your window.
Yeah. That guy's pretty cool. I waved to him all the time.
I waved to him. Hey, man, how's it going? I'm about to eat. You want to come in? He doesn't say anything. He just kind of shakes his head slowly.
Yeah. Oh, Jacob Jett, Star Trek is as gay as cranberries.
Cranberries ain't gay.
They're not even a fruit.
They're not.
They come off a tree, don't they?
We looked into it one time. I forget. All I know is I don't need to supply Far with any more material. Let's move on. But you know what is gay, gentlemen?
Homosexuals?
No.
Oh.
TK421 from A New Hope.
What?
Read that. Just soak it in.
Oh my god.
I don't want to read this.
Well,
no.
fans wait for the highly anticipated Star Wars The Last Jedi, which is just over 2 months away.
It's an old article.
Fans have been getting a slew of new details about Star Wars: A New Hope, and from the Star Wars movies, the new book released this week entitled Star Wars From a Certain Point of View. This book tells 40 stories from 40 different authors to celebrate the 40th anniversary of the iconic franchise. By telling untold stories that answer some questions fans didn't even know they wanted the answer to.
Who cares if some rando stormtrooper's gay? What does that have to do with anything?
The famous stormtrooper TK421. Why aren't you at your post? The stormtrooper that Han Solo.
Because he was out having the sex.
No. He was the guy that was guarding the entry to the Millennium Falcon. Then Han said, hey, can we get some help up here? And then they went up there and then they shot him, knocked him out right, and then took their armor.
So they're blaming a gay man for the Millennium Falcon escaping?
Yes, pretty much.
Oh my god, that is so homophobic.
But it's just like you're retconning TK421, this incidental guy in Star Wars, to having a secret gay romance on the Death Star. Why?
Wait, are they suggesting that the fact that he got killed means that he wasn't actually killed? He was secretly having gay sex?
No.
Well, Hammer pointed something out that derivative material is always bad. Got it? Because you were kind of implying that. So Star Wars is just a derivative of Flash Gordon, so really this is just more crap.
I mean, like this. What I love is like who's like no wonder it took Chuck Wendig so long to get fired when these are the people that are in charge, like the editors that are writing these books. Like some guy submits this story where it's like, oh, remember this random incidental peripheral character that was named in Star Wars? Yeah. Well, he was actually having a gay romance on the Death Star. And the editor went, hey, that's a great idea.
I mean, I'm telling you, they're just making SJW chick tracks.
Yes.
That's all this stuff is.
Oh, and I just noticed the least surprising story of the week here, gentlemen. Star Wars 9 leak has fans worried it's just a rehash of Return of the Jedi. No.
No, why would they do that? They only ran out of good ideas a while ago. And if you like what I'm saying, you can find my channel at the link I just put in the live chat.
Yeah, by all means, show your stuff, guys. Put your stuff up in chat, including any t-shirt shops or other associated sundry sites you may have.
I'm working on it.
I love Peter's comment. That is so moronically random. Yeah,
pretty much.
I think Mr. Adams sums it up best. Just ... Like what? Yeah, exactly. What? Why?
What a waste of paper. You're telling a story no one cares about.
Yeah.
Just for PP touches and back pats on the internet.
Oh, hey, you know what I just found out? My channel's monetizable. I've passed that that threshold or whatever it is at some point.
You don't have 1,000 subscribers.
I don't know what to tell you. I can enable well, no, monetizable not for super chats, but for ads.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's there in my creator studio, whatever the fucking thingy dealy.
Do it. That's awesome.
Well, I don't want these people who show up and comment in chat and watch later. These are awesome people. I don't want to have them go through watching ads to watch this material.
Monetize the actual comic book curation videos, not the lives.
I guess, but then those viewers would still have to watch ads.
Now, to be fair, you got to fund this rodeo somehow. And if you're starving to death because you don't eat, then obviously the show won't go on.
Well, but unlike Renfamous, I have a job.
I was gonna say, don't get people to feel bad for Polly. He gets his nugs just fine.
Still, there's nothing wrong with making a little extra money on it.
See, you got Blind Rambler. You're awesome. I'll watch the videos, Polly, with the ads. You're a great person. Family Guy isn't funny. Okay. Have you ever watched The Orville?
No, because I do not find anything Seth MacFarlane does funny.
Hammer, it took you a while of cajoling and pressuring me just to get me to watch Star Trek Discovery. And eventually I did that. I'll get around to The Orville. I really will, but I just, come on.
It's a good thing that when I watched Ted, I didn't have my 9mm anywhere in the room. Otherwise, I would be painting the wall with my brain. Just saying.
Wow, that's depressing.
Yes, Ted was that bad of a movie.
I didn't think it was quite that bad, but I have much lower entertainment standards than most. It wasn't like Batman and Robin bad.
Well, Batman and Robin bad is at least funny.
No,
which is
that was
not,
just like, why
which
is
is
this
not what
exist?
Seth MacFarlane is. Sorry.
No, he's not. I don't find him funny. It's just dick fart and drug jokes.
Yeah.
Art and drug jokes,
You know,
really?
Hammer, don't pull the contempt prior to investigation. I'm not saying The Orville isn't funny. I'm just saying that Seth MacFarlane, the guy that created it, isn't funny.
Well, it's not really a comedy. It's actually a little bit semi-serious. It's an okay show. I just don't have any investment in it. I don't really care.
Ted or Orville?
Orville. Ted, I don't care about. I think Marky Mark seems like a real douche nugget in real life. So,
well, that guy went from beating up random Chinamen on the streets of Boston to being a full-blown SJW in his adult life. Like it.
Yeah.
And I'm not making that up. He's the one who admitted that he was like with roaming gangs of other people beating up on Chinamen. That was his words, not mine.
I don't, to quote Walter, I don't think Chinaman is the proper nomenclature.
To quote who?
Walter from The Big Lebowski.
No.
They prefer Chinese people, I think.
Look, Englishman, Irishman, Frenchman, Scotsman, Chinaman. What?
Oh, you just lump them all in, don't you?
No.
All people Polly doesn't like. Englishmen, Irishmen, and Chinamen. Take them Orientals and them mix and get them out of here.
Ching-chong.
guys. I said I was monetizable. Let's not fuck it up.
Well, not anymore.
You didn't care.
Not anymore.
Yeah, you said you didn't care, so you just go full-blown racist. All right, why not? Fuck it.
Oh, we're not the ones that said it, Polly. You are. Can't wait to tell Bear that you hate Englishmen. She's like, why do you hate Englishmen, Polly?
I'm of English descent. What the fuck?
So it's self-loathing too.
You have I told you guys you're pricks yet today? Have I?
Not today, but
not today.
I know I am. I don't know about Quiz.
Oh, okay. So let's move along to this story that I did. Polly got busted for what? I tried to make a clear argument of nomenclature, and these guys turned it into I hate all of these people I named. I was making a Jesus. Anyways, what I did want to talk about today is the title is Halloween Anti-Comicsgate Horror Stories, and the horror story that I wanted to talk about is what happened to a YouTuber that I like a lot that goes by the name of That Umbrella Guy that we all like a lot. We all watch his material and its serious quality, and he's a Southern gentleman if there ever was one. His channel got struck down and got flagged for spamming.
Spam.
Yeah.
On a live stream. I don't know. It's
Yeah,
not like he's doing an infomercial.
How do you spam on a live stream? Okay.
Well, Sinatra and Monkey suggested that it was poor use of tags, but I would say that is not the case, considering that the other YouTubers got hit at the same time. Just Some Guy. I don't know if you guys watch Just Some Guy as well. Another Comicsgate streamer. He's awesome. His reviews are fantastic. Another one of those brown people that are Comicsgate supporters, because there's so few of those, right?
Yeah, so few.
He's basically white by Mark Waid standards.
Well, I hate, and that's what I mean. I hate those standards where it's like, you got Antonio Bryce over on, and who else? Like, there's just such a Japanese guy. What's his name? That's always up on EVS. Miller. It's like Comicsgate is more diverse than the comic book community, comic book pros are. What the fuck are you guys always talking about marginalized communities for?
Yeah, I say the best part about it is that all the people that are anti-Comicsgate are nothing but white people, and all the people that are anti, or that are Comicsgate are the people that are what they claim to be marginalized people. I'm like, are you fucking serious?
Like that hashtag not your shield thing. It's perfect. The people that shoot their mouths off the most about LGBT POC protection of marginalized communities, it's all a bunch of fucking guilty hand-wringing white people that I think are fake with it and false with their righteousness to begin with. They're just virtue signaling to seem like good people, because isn't this what you're supposed to say? Anne Hathaway, I'm looking at you.
Well, I think a lot of them are like closeted racists because they treat minorities like they're children.
Yeah.
And that's the type of thing that you used to see on plantations in the South.
I hate George W. Bush. Okay, let that be known. I loathe the shit out of that dude. But his little quote there about the soft bigotry of low expectations is absolutely fucking accurate.
Yeah, absolutely.
So this group of so-called righteous crusaders, anti-Comicsgaters that think that we're all a bunch of racists, and so forth, and alt-righters, they decide to come after that umbrella guy, or Tug for short, as we call him.
Good old Tug.
Yeah, struck his channel down, so he couldn't stream for 90 days. This guy streamed every fucking day like clockwork, and unlike us, always streamed on time.
Yes, and for the most part, supplemented a lot of his income by getting those super chats.
Yeah, like he has a job straight up, and it's a well-paying one, but like it's nice side money that's coming in, right? Especially with the holiday season coming up. So what's the next thing that happens to this poor guy? Somebody doxes him.
Not only doxes him, but calls his place of employment to talk about how much of a racist and horrible person he is.
Yeah,
are you fucking kidding me?
He had to go explain this on his new channel that he started, and how supportive his fans are, like including all three of us are. It's like as soon as he started a new channel, we all like went and signed up, or went and subscribed immediately. He had 10,500 people, and his channel grew fast as fuck, the one that got struck down. So he had to start a new one. But he was smart enough that once you have a strike against you, I did not realize this, you can't start a new channel. He had foreseen this as a potential problem, knowing the anti-Comicsgaters and how dirty they play. He had started this channel beforehand called The Umbrella Guy. So it was sitting there in the wings waiting to be activated. So smart man.
That's why I'm not sure if that's actually the case though, Polly, because I created Servo Skull 8.1 when my channel got demonetized or got flagged. So
really,
yep.
He said he couldn't. I was not aware of.
Well, you're not supposed to.
Yeah,
when you get struck, you're not supposed to. If you get caught, they can terminate your account.
Yeah,
but if you have pre-existing accounts, then it's not a huge deal.
So you're open to. So you guys think you're open to being struck down immediately if they discover you've done that. But
if you already had older ones that have been around before the strike happened, you're okay. Yeah, that's how I understood it from my reading of the rules.
So he got up to from the time he sent out the tweet to 12 hours later, he had 600 subs. Now he's up to 1,600 on his new old channel, if you know what I mean. He was streaming and talking about it, and it is a Halloween horror story what this guy had to deal with through his work. I mean, think about it. Here's this guy who literally had his appendix burst, quite seriously, had this medical condition pop up. Unintentionally using the word pop there because his appendix did burst, went through surgery for it. He's out of the hospital. His doctor has written him, you cannot return to work while he's at home recuperating. This is days after this appendix business, just a few days. He gets a call from his employer saying, we need to talk to you in the office. It's a very serious matter. We need you there at this time on this day. And he's like, okay, it's kind of weird. And he hears kind of through the grapevine, I don't know, it's something about you belonging to an online harassment hate group. And he's instantly knew what it was, right? He goes in and sits down in this meeting with his employers and they have articles about how Comicsgate is an online harasser of women and people of color and trans folks and wants to blah, blah, blah. And what they spend all day doing is harassing women to keep them out of comics and so on. And he is intimately associated with this and is part of this group and is championing this harassment hate campaign online. Can you imagine having to explain to a group full of normies basically what Comicsgate is from the ground up, like what's going on, and how these are people that are using the worst language possible? Because you know what they did? They went to Google and they typed in Comicsgate, enter. I would ask anybody who's listening right now, do it. Go to DuckDuckGo or Bing or Google, whatever it is you use. I did, because he suggested that. Tug himself suggested that. Just go do it and see what the first 10 hits that come up are. Holy shit. It's online harassment, hate group, white nationalist alt-righters, angry white men strike back, blah, blah. Can you imagine what his employers were thinking?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's an easy way out of this if you're morally flexible, and that is, I have no idea what you're talking about. They're clearly confusing me with someone else.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, simply going to his channel and pressing play on any video, they'd instantly recognize his voice.
All Southern people sound the same. Sorry, nice. That was too easy.
Nice. For those of you who don't know, Tug has a very smooth Carolinian Tennessee style. Yeah, I love his accent. It's great. And so he's got a very particular sounding voice, unfortunately for him.
Yeah. See, that's the problem with doing anything where you're even remotely involved in politics. You're putting yourself in a position where somebody is going to smear you, whether it's justified or not. And the fact that he is growing, he is popular, people cite him all the time, making him a huge target. He's lucky he didn't get fired.
I would like, if it were up to me, and if this were the sort of thing that this sort of bullshit came down on my head, I would immediately say, tell whatever my employer that's giving me the inquest, I would say, listen to what I have to say, watch some of those videos. If they sit there and they say, if I'm espousing the far right, the Nazi ideology that they say I am, it should be apparent in my videos, should it not? Watch my videos.
Yeah. And Street Sith Mail asks when you say, and Jack responded to him, but for those listening, when we say Tug, T-U-G, for that umbrella guy, that's the name he goes by. Yeah. And you gamers out there should get the Umbrella reference from the Umbrella Corporation. That's where it's coming from.
Yeah. Even though I don't really like Resident Evil too much, I don't fault
communist.
I hate Resident Evil. I'm sorry, I do.
I hate good things.
No, you want good for like fucking.
If you say Parasite Eve, I'm gonna have him boot you.
No, fuck Parasite Eve. Parasite Eve is terrible. No, okay, Silent Hill. Good. Silent Hill is infinitely better.
The controls are terrible in Silent Hill.
But that's no. Okay, you want to talk about controls? The fucking Resident Evil is even worse, man. Those tank controls in Resident Evil are the worst.
Yeah, they are pretty bad.
Peter says having a tug is an Aussie way of saying having a wank. It can be here. It's just not particular, and people have so much fun with that nickname with Tug. Like he'll stream sometimes later at night, and it's people joke with him in chat saying good, I get a little bit of a tug before I get to go to sleep, and et cetera, et cetera.
Having a tug before I go to sleep.
Yeah. Or he'll stream in the morning and people say, oh great, a tug first thing in the morning. It's but he's a great guy and a Southern gentleman, and that he had to deal with that, and his channel is so uncontroversial. If you come listen to us, we cuss, we swear, we get angry. We have to have Jim Healis come on to calm us down. And
this wee stuff, I'm always calm. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but you're the spiciest one of the three of us. That's the problem, man.
That's just general apathy.
Jack's just completely run out of fucks to give. Yeah,
like 20 years ago. Yeah.
Umbrella Guy's stuff is really he does a lot of number-oriented stuff. Look how IDW is doing. Look how their stock's falling. Look at the sales. He does a lot of Comicron stuff, which plots sales of shipping of comics shipped. And look how Marvel's doing. And look at how this is failing. The industry, in case you guys didn't know, the comic book industry is on a slow descent right into the ground. And none of the, get woke, go broke, all of the comic switches that they've done, all of the replacement of characters with woke characters and rearranging storylines to be socially justice woke are just doing terribly. They have to relaunch stories over and over and over again because number one sell more than anything. And every time they relaunch a series or a character, it just gets worse and worse. We're going to take Iceman and make him gay. We're going to take Thor and make him a woman. We're going to take Iron Man, kill him off, Tony Stark, and replace him with Riri Williams. We're going to
don't forget Girl Vereen.
Girl Vereen, yeah, X-23. Like it just, or Honey Badger as well. Like it just it's a frustrating thing, and it's a perfect exemplar of get woke, go broke, but because Marvel is owned by Disney, they've got deep pockets and they can keep doing this and kind of fudge the numbers. And Umbrella Guy's channel was really about talking about a lot of this stuff and the hilarity, and sort of he does articles like we do, not very controversial, but the point was he's getting more and more popular and more views. So Ethan Van Sciver's a target. Diversity in Comics is, of course, probably the biggest target of them all of these anti-Comicsgaters. Even somebody as small as Tug got identified as a, quote, in a Garbage Tier article, a lieutenant of the Comicsgate movement. Like, this is the crap that they try and pull, to the point where they're calling the guy's employers and threatening his livelihood. So now this guy, talk about a Halloween Horror Story, has to call up his local police department and say, guys, just so you know, I've been doxxed, which means my information's been put out there. So if anybody calls, like, to avoid swatting, to avoid all of the bad things that can happen when police get called on somebody when they're trying to fuck with someone, keyboard warriors from afar trying to screw with someone because they have their information, he's got to do these things now. This is over comic books, y'all. This is how fucking serious they are about their culture war. Critics of them, they want to deplatform them so badly that they're willing to take it to this level. And Jim Healis has a point of saying, well, it is on both sides. Sadly, it is, but these people have the power of the industry and every Garbage Tier news site out there behind them. And it's frightening and worrying. And what was it, 3 weeks ago or 2 weeks ago when Renfremus got doxxed, and we all said, no, Renfremus shouldn't have been doxxed. That's fucked up.
Yeah.
No, that doesn't matter. You're still an awful person.
Yeah. Nobody should be called out. I want to attack Renfremus's ideas, not her personally and her life.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I want to say funny things about her and mock her because I find her weird that she spends 18 hours a day telling off people that she doesn't know for an industry that she doesn't care about, for comics that she doesn't fucking read. She's on an SJW. So there's my Halloween Horror Story. Watch your backs, y'all. Things get weird. Online anonymity is important, and doxing sucks. If you're a doxer, what are you doing with your life? That's not cool.
Anyone who actually legitimately doxes someone is the scum of the earth. Period. I've firmly held that that's a horrible principle to undermine. No one should ever do it, period. There's no justification for it.
I think if somebody does something like that, they should be required to wash Tonka Saw's metal buffalo.
Man, just interacting with Tonka Saw, period, man. That's harsh. That's the
you
punishment
goof,
does
you
not
hoe.
The punishment does not fit the crime, man. They'll get scoliosis from all the cringe.
Lucky Pop-Tart has the now we kind of wrap that story up. And yeah, I'm eating on stream because it's my stream. And it's Halloween candy and it's Halloween. So that's what I'm doing. Anyway, Pop-Tart has a great question. Any suggestions on how to explain to an 85-year-old why they have to turn the rap music down? It's very loud.
Wait, the 85-year-old is playing the rap?
Yeah, she works at a old folks facility, and she's at work right now. And apparently, there's an 85-year-old blasting hip hop.
Fuck it, man. They're about to die. Just let them fucking jam out to NWA.
I'd be like, we can't hear the ambulance coming for your neighbor because you're all dying.
Okay, no, that's not an ambulance. Thank you. That whoop whoop. That's a sound of the police.
Wow. An inside hip hop reference. I'm impressed, Quiz. Well done.
Mighty, mighty hip of you.
Mighty hip of you. All right, guys, we're running at 69 minutes. I think it's about time for pitches.
Oh, no. Movies.
Oh, of course.
Yes.
Yes. We've put it off long enough. We're going to do it now.
You were trying to avoid this like the plague.
Well, when the audience sees what I was trying to avoid, they'll understand why.
It's a little Halloween surprise for you kids.
26 feminist horror movies that will freak you out without bringing you down. Guys, you know, something we've discovered, chat that we've discovered in short here, is that none of these are really feminist. They're just really women's revenge stories against men. That's what apparently feminist makes. I didn't think that it was, but apparently it is, according to these various writers. What number was I Spit on Your Grave? Was that 16?
I think it's 13.
13? No, that's The Craft.
No, The Craft.
I Spit on Your
14.
Grave, 14. This ultra gory rape revenge cult film features, yes, rape, so do be aware if it's too much for you, but also so much brutal revenge.
Ooh, they give a trigger warning? Oh, and it's the 2010 version? Fuck that.
Yeah. Both versions are pretty disturbing on the rape scene.
Yeah, they are.
The first movie is much better done, especially with the revenging.
Like, what was it?
The guy playing the mentally retarded guy.
Was it late 70s? The first I Spit on Your Grave?
Yeah, it was like 76 or something.
Like a true drive-in exploitation film.
Oh, yeah, that was grindhouse material all the way. And it was banned in a lot of countries.
Yes.
There's a brutal 20-minute long rape scene in it.
78.
78. Okay. Yeah. The brutal long rape scene in it. And the whole point is this woman going on a revenge trip after the fact. And like, I mean, think about it. This kind of says it all. Like, what makes it a feminist horror film? It says this ultra gory revenge cult film. Yeah, okay, there's a lot of rape in it, but also so much brutal revenge. That's really what you're after, isn't it?
A third of the movie is the chick getting raped by different guys. I don't understand how that's even remotely feminist.
Because she goes on a revenge trip. Apparently,
yeah, but
that's all that makes it feminist.
So dumb. It's not like she's wearing her pussy hat in it.
In Final Girl, a group of serial killers hunt young girls for fun. Meet their match in Abigail Breslin. And again, revenge fantasy. Like that's what everyone. The Craft is a horror movie that basically inspired an entire fashion trend. Really?
No, they think it inspired goths.
Yeah.
It didn't.
And goth aesthetic for girls around the world. And it's all about female friendship and witchcraft.
Johnny Hellcat says The Craft feminist. Doesn't a chick in there rape a dude? Yes.
Yeah.
Really?
But no, you forget that men can't be raped by women.
Oh, yeah.
That's the
right.
feminist mantra.
No. Legally, they're not. They can't men can't be raped because forced envelopment is not a thing.
Ask a feminist; they will tell you that that's not possible.
Well, also the fucking legal system will tell you that too.
Yeah, and that's
Fuck
just
feminists.
as much bullshit.
Everything they stand for.
Season of the Witch, the classic.
That movie's terrible.
Okay, the movie is about a housewife who befriends a witch and get the itch to try the craft for herself.
Garbage tier.
Yeah, and
have you ever seen this? Have you ever seen Season of the Witch?
No, I've never even heard of it.
It's a George Romero movie before he did Night of the Living Dead. It is so boring, and the woman's not even that good looking, and she's naked in it, and you're like, there's a lot of 70s going on there. Trim.
Do you think Scream qualifies as feminist? Why?
because the protagonist is female. It's Neve Campbell.
That's 90% of every horror movie is that it's usually a woman that survives to the end. Spoilers.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of the motif. Yeah. And I hate that word trope.
Yeah,
the witch.
Anita really ruined it.
Yes, she did.
Set in 1630, it's a full-on witch hunt that centers and empathizes with the young woman being accused of evil. So it furthers a victim narrative.
That's actually the Vivitch.
The Vivitch? What do you mean?
It's
yeah,
W is two V's.
Yeah, double V's there. Okay. Let the right one in.
The original or the crappy American remake?
Does not say.
Looks like the crappy American remake. It's an okay movie, not feminist though. It's just a female lead. Again.
Okay. The Hunger. A smoking hot and ultra cool Catherine Dudevilla stars in The Hunger, along with a delightfully androgynous Susan Sarandon.
Isn't she always androgynous?
Yeah. And the inimitable David Bowie.
Is the one thing I've got to know, though, for all of these movies is, do they pass the Bechdel test?
Probably not.
I don't know. The ones that they say that it's about female friendship and shit, I would imagine the
Babadook would not pass the Bechdel test.
No.
There's not a single time that mother talks with any other woman at all, and the other and her kid is a boy, so it would definitely not.
Okay, so why is it feminist?
Because
protagonist is female.
Yeah, protagonist is a female fighting against a monster.
Oh, okay.
Which, of course, is a man.
I've just got to say, the Babadook, that sounds like the Lorax. Like
it's actually a fairly good movie. I thought the ending was a little but
Carrie, because she's going through puberty and suffering abuse all the
pig's
while.
Blood and pyromancy.
The pig's blood falling on her was symbolic of her menstruation, and it let her channel her feminine power, her goddess energy, overcome the patriarchy,
to burn a school down with all of the people inside of it. Yeah.
Drag Me to Hell, which I've actually seen, is an amazing horror comedy that highlights a woman's perspective, arguably contains allegories for an eating disorder, and is totally off the wall, delightful, and gross. Because eating disorders are inherently feminist, I guess. All right.
Yeah, I guess.
Fuck it. Let's see. The Innkeepers. Ty West's Innkeepers is a quiet, slow burn of a ghost story led by intrepid protagonist Claire, Sarah Paxton. It will majorly mess you up.
Doubt.
Yeah, didn't go ahead and skip that one.
Press F to doubt. Jennifer's Body. This movie is infamous.
That movie was
terrible.
That movie was retarded.
That's what made it fun.
Everyone makes fun of this movie as being just a ridiculous.
It's a silly movie.
And call back Megan Fox.
Yes. Yeah. Did we need? This is why they're going to ruin Star Trek by having Megan Fox in it. I mean, God.
And her fucking toe thumbs.
Well, that woman's got more plastic in her than a fucking, I don't know, plastic factory. I don't have any words anymore. I'm losing my.
Wait, do you not know about her toe thumbs?
Yeah, no, I know about the toe thumbs. I know about the toe thumbs. I've seen.
Well, if you're into a foot fetish, a hand job from her would be a very similar thing.
Yeah, it would be. I mean, her thumbs are fucking gross.
Ginger Snaps. Using a girl's transformation into a werewolf as an allegory for puberty? Genius. Ginger Snaps hits all the right feminist notes.
Hey, doesn't that remind you of a comic book that just came out?
Oh my God.
What, Man-Eaters?
Yes.
But
those like they stole it.
Those are cats, not werewolves.
Whatever. They stole Sleepwalkers and this one. Whatever.
Okay, and number one is A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night. This is one of the coolest movies of all time. A Western-influenced Iranian neo-noir vampire film featuring the most stylish, self-assured, flat-out awesome vampire heroine.
Doubt.
Sounds like one of those like clown dancing indie artsy films.
You know what I'm noticing here?
Bore you to tears.
You see this?
Mm.
It's Vice.
Let's check out the Mary Sue and see which ones they picked for.
Sure, yeah. We have the Mary Sue version of 6 feminist horror stories to watch this Halloween season. Written by Vivian Kane. Oh, we love Miss Kane.
Love is a strong word I would not put in there.
Okay, they went with Ginger Snaps.
It's really frustrating to me that they picked that movie, and every single one, spoiler alert, every single one of these articles has Ginger Snaps on the list. It's actually a fairly good movie, but it's not like feminist at all. Ginger, the woman that becomes a werewolf in that movie, is a scumbag. Like, she's kind of a bitch throughout the whole beginning, and then when she actually gets what?
You're actually making it sound feminist.
It's rooted in metaphors for puberty periods and developing sexuality. What does it matter?
Does she paint with it? Does she paint with her werewolf?
No. Her sister, who doesn't get a period, ends up killing Ginger at the end. So the one that remains a child is the one that kills the one that gets puberty. So where does that fit into the feminist narrative, huh? About people being obsessed with the goddamn fucking menstruation.
Your words betray your intent, sir. You keep calling her bitchy. Are you going to call her bossy next?
Yes.
And pushy. Pushy. Don't forget pushy.
Yes. Okay. What's next? The Monster.
Oh, is that the Charlize Theron one?
Is it?
Is it?
No.
I think that's just called Monster, not
Brian Burt knows. Well, that sounds like a man. 2016 film seems to come and gone without much notice. Well, it's a good thing you guys noticed. That's a shame because it's hand down one of the best horror movies in the past few years. The movie stars Zoe Black, Kathy, alcoholic. Oh, get this. Stars as Kathy, a young alcoholic, emotionally and sometimes physically abusive mother. Oh, yeah, fits in with the Mary Sue crowd, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
Can see why they like it.
I think a lot of feminists also have mommy issues too. It sounds like.
Yeah. Apparently they all worship Susan Smith, who drowned 4 children.
The real core of the film is about the fraught dynamic between the mother and daughter, fleshed out with intermittent flashbacks. It's much of a story of female relationships and female strength as it is a monster movie. Jesus.
God.
Revenge. Yeah, of course. I've seen this movie. It's
grossly sexualizing women's pain.
Yeah, well, this film is just, it's about a woman who goes on a revenge trip. It's a good action film, but of course they're going to look into it and see all of the
patriarchy.
Yeah. Her fight for survival is largely unglamorous and unsexy, which is jarringly juxtaposed with a near lack of clothing for many. The heavy reliance on the film's tropes, Jack, won't be worth a subversion, no matter how deftly done. But if you're in the mood for a violent kill fest that plays with the female gaze in interesting and uncomfortable ways, it's worth checking out.
Ugh. I used the word tropes in a review I did for Vampirella the other day, and I felt dirty afterward.
Anita Sarkeesian will do that to you.
Revenge is the only movie in the genre that I've seen that actually utilizes a female gaze and manages to subvert that history of exploitation.
Ooh, snap.
Like, I saw a meme once where the picture was just a woman sitting on a couch eating popcorn looking at a TV. And the text said, every now and then I like to turn my feminism off so I can actually enjoy a film.
Yeah. It's true though. I mean, I know feminists that have had to take a vacation from feminism so they could go see a movie they wanted to see. If you have to take a vacation from it, you're in a cult.
Yes, you are.
Are you guys paying attention to chat? Our devoted followers and listeners?
Yeah.
Okay, because I just don't have chat up right now, so I can't do it. So I just want to make sure chat's, we're trying to be interactive here, and you guys are slackers.
Ukulele Girl says, Ukulele Girl says girls can't do that. Yeah, I know. Ukulele Girl, the entirety of all Ukulele Girls are worthless pieces of shit. Just saying.
What?
There was this is a callback to when I was talking about how women can't rape men. Forced development is not a thing. I believe, at least. There's a bitch that the latest Dr. Randomer cam that has tailed feature as a component of the song. Talking about the whole Justice Kavanaugh thing, yeah, the thing about it is that she's far from the only ukulele girl, and every single ukulele girl is awful. So, you know,
who the fuck is what's a ukulele girl? What are you talking about?
Have you not seen any of these videos with, like, you know, the pro-feminist fucking ukulele girls with ukuleles playing a stupid little song?
Well, I know the one from Queer Kid Stuff plays.
It's
ukulele.
1,000,000,007 of them, dude. Seriously,
really?
They're all over the place.
Oh.
Almost every single woman that's making a song about feminism is playing the goddamn ukulele. It's awful.
Okay, I'm glad I don't know that. It was like Sarkon's video where he was talking about Gab.
Oh my God, there are a lot of girls playing ukuleles.
Yes, there are. It's like a whole
this
thing.
is weird.
See, I'm happy I did. Why did you inform me of this? Like I said, it was like when Sargon was talking about Gab banning Lolicon, and he's like, and if you don't know what Lolicon is, good for you. Turn the video off and keep going.
Yes.
Now I know about ukulele girls. Thanks, Quiz.
You're welcome.
Oh, this is nightmarish. Don't look it up.
Okay, here's the Lorax. I mean, Babadook.
Like I said, the Babadook and Ginger Snaps, good movies, but these people are reading into shit that isn't there. Well, wait, a feminist doing that? No, I don't believe that for a second.
A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night is, again, Anna Lily.
This was not from Vice, though.
No. It was a Vice recommended film that they had it embedded. The video clip, they embedded it from Vice. Is a feminist vampire Iranian Western movie work of art.
You lost me at Iranian.
You lost me at feminist.
How are you going to know it's a vampire if it's wearing a burqa? How does it feed, for that matter?
To be fair, they only wear hijabs in Iran, but
it's a cross between David Lynch and Sergio Leone. That's weird.
That's a bold statement.
I was going to say that I know there's no way that anyone in the modern day could channel Sergio Leone.
The girl is a monster here as a vampire who sucks men's blood. Specifically, she feeds on bad men's blood, meaning all men.
Yeah, obviously.
Men who abuse or disrespect women. Now I see why this movie's so popular with this crowd.
They disrespect the women. They get the blood suck.
Yeah, now I get why they like it so much.
See, she's using the reverse penetration to punish them with the phallic symbol that they punish women with.
The movie is less about big scares as it is about tonal eeriness and an exciting subversion of themes of female oppression.
Oh, God, get fucked.
Okay.
And Raw is their final film. This French cannibal horror film.
Lost me at French.
Okay, is it?
Lost me at feminist, dude. I'm gone from the big title of this article.
Is one that leans heavily into metaphors for adolescence and burgeoning sexuality. Justine is the youngest in a family of veterinarians. When she joins her older sister at the vet school, she's forced to eat meat during a hazing ritual, and soon after, the lifelong vegetarian develops an insatiable craving for human flesh. The movie unflinchingly mingles its gore with dark comedy and sensuality, and the effect is uncomfortably mesmerizing.
So you know what I'm only taking from this? It's nothing feminism, but it just means that never ever go vegetarian or vegan, because if you do, and then you have a little bit of meat, you turn into a cannibal. So no,
vegans are crazy. Haven't you ever seen the movie The Crazies?
No,
those were all vegans. I'm 100% convinced of that after watching Vegan Gains debate.
Oh fuck!
And Raw, I bet every chick in that movie has hairy armpits and eats pastries or something, or they're fighting mimes. I don't know. Stupid French.
So, like, I don't get why this one's feminist, because it has like a female protect. Like the Mary Sue list of 6 feminist horror movies seems a lot more dedicated towards real, like, what they perceive as feminist themes. I don't see the feminist theme in this one.
You know what's not on this list is Teeth.
No, but that's on the 26 one.
Yeah, but if you're looking at top 10 feminist movies,
Yeah, I'm surprised they wouldn't go with the toothed vaginas that bite penises off.
the vagina dentitis.
What?
Have you never heard of this movie, Polly?
No, I've never heard of this fucking movie.
Here, hold on.
Yeah, it's teeth. It's literally vagina dentitis is old Middle Ages belief that women could grow teeth in their bottom mouth, their front hole, if you will.
Front hole.
And yeah, it was a legitimate thing they believed back then because they didn't know how any anatomy worked. They were all just making crap up. So they kind of took that premise and ran with it. I was waiting for the sequel, Anal Fistulae, but never happened, unfortunately.
Here you go. Dawn grows up in the shadow of a nuclear power plant. In high school, her biology class studies evolution. She realizes she may have a hidden curse and adaptation. She lives with her mom, stepfather, and hard-edged stepbrother. She likes Toby, a guy at school, and he likes her. She takes a pledge to remain chaste until marriage, so they date in groups, watch G-rated films, and don't kiss. But the power of teenage hormones is great. So temptation beckons. Dawn is an admirer of Ryan, and when things have an unexpected twist with Toby, she turns to Ryan for help. Will he be her mythical hero to rescue her, or can she find a way to be find her way as her own hero, turning her curse into an asset? Yeah, her curse is that she has teeth in her vagina and she bites penises off.
I threw a link for the trailer in the chat.
I watched this movie to see how awful it is, and it's bad, not because of the biting penises off, but because the entire time the movie is going on, they force men to be rapists, like guys that, like, even within the premise of their own, like, setup for their movie, doesn't make sense for them to just all of a sudden get rapey.
Yeah, but they do, which is why it's a much more feminist movie. That's how they perceive men. Men are these uncontrolled savages that are just broken women. And she's got the teeth downstairs to handle their gropiness.
Yeah.
Jesus, what year is this from?
2007.
Wow. Oh, yeah, I've never heard tell of this movie. What the fuck?
I'd put a link in the our group chat for you, Polly. Too.
Would that be like a little too on the nose for
a feminist? Well, that's all they do.
They don't understand subtlety or metaphor, so you got to kind of spell it out for them sometimes. It's their small girl brains.
Okay, this isn't Ranting Monkey's channel. Let's leave the blatant misogyny out of it, shall we?
Oh, sorry, forgot where I was for a minute. Repeal the 19th.
Yeah, exactly, right? Jesus. In the meantime, I thought I'd throw up the thumbnail for this week because goddamn YouTube won't let you put a thumbnail up directly for a stream until the stream's been over for like an hour, or if last week is any indication, for like 34 hours before I could put a fucking thumbnail on it.
You know, that thumbnail didn't show up on my subscription thing until today.
Yeah, it took forever. It was it wasn't from last week. That was from Monday, the Jim Healis one.
No, the last week's one didn't show up until today.
Oh my god, they just hate the sexy comic book ladies that I keep putting on. What's wrong with sexy comic? Look at this lady.
These aren't sexy. These are empowered women who are embracing their sexuality and utilizing it for their own power base. They're channeling their inner goddess. That's what I'm seeing right here.
I like it. These are empowered comic book ladies, and that's how I will describe them from now on.
Yeah, I mean, clearly this woman is a powerful Wiccan sorceress who doesn't need armor, and she's expose a little bit of skin so you could think she's more vulnerable than she actually is, and she's channeling her rage against the patriarchy / father to destroy the evil men out there.
The patriarchy / father.
Or whoever didn't hug them enough as a kid. I don't know.
No. She doesn't have daddy issues. She's a strong, independent woman who don't need no man.
Yeah. Let's go with that. As opposed to like, let's see a little more of that skin, honey.
Come on. She's hot. She is empowered because, come on, this woman comes up to you and says, hey, you want to carve a pumpkin with me? You're going to say, yes. You know.
You had me at hey.
So, Let's go into the comic pitches. Let's see, who am I going to volunteer to go first? Jack, you're up.
Yeah, okay. Give me a second to pull up my folder stuff here.
Sure.
I don't even care if anybody sees my desktop. All right, so since we were talking about Zeniscope earlier, I'm going with, if this loads, gonna load. There we go. Paradise Court. I don't know what the hell's going on with my screen here, so let me stop sharing for a second while I fix this. Okay. I hate this damn screen sharing crap. Paradise Court. It's a cult murder mystery. The Zeniscope, it puts out some really strange stuff sometimes, but it's always cheesecake, kind of sexy. And this is a cult murder mystery. There's some sort of cult activity going on in this small community, and some old friends come to visit one of the residents and get embroiled in the mystery. And the art is actually pretty good for such a low press group. So we've got this guy. He's our bad guy. We don't know who he is yet. And somebody went missing, so they're helping out, and they run into this creepy neighbor guy. And the local cops seem to kind of be inept, but this guy over here with the gray hair, he's kind of in charge of the place. He designed it, kind of a Frank Lloyd Wright type guy. And it's pretty interesting because they're like college kids. And I enjoyed it. I thought the first couple issues were good. I've got a review up for the first. A lot goes on, and it's sexy at the same time being pretty well written. Now, normally I don't recommend Zeniscope because a lot of the people that work there are big SJWs, but this is worth a recommendation because they actually did a good job on it, and it was actually fun.
Yeah, just like I got rid of every single issue of Crossed when Max Bemis wrote I think like 6 issues. That's all he wrote. When he wrote 6 issues, I got rid of all of my Crossed issues. I got rid of every Grimm's Fairy Tales when I started hearing some of their writers and artists going full retard. So
yeah, it's really disappointing. But if you find it used, I would definitely check these out. I thought they were fun. I got the first issue off the rack, but the other 2 issues I picked up after they were moved over because I wasn't going to pay full price for them. Comic shop guy that was going to happen.
Yeah.
All right. Man, we were talking beforehand about Zeniscope and before we went live, and you guys like that pitch. Yeah, that was a successful pitch because what you guys were telling me before and what I just saw there. Yeah, I'm convinced. I haven't read any Zeniscope stuff. I'm interested in. Who doesn't like cheesecake? Damn it! I mean,
right?
Just avoid some of the artists that are getting a little too uppity about social justice.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And these guys were sending me some great cheesecake before.
Oh yeah, there's some great.
Like I mean, look at
their cover artists are fucking great.
Look at I had never thought sexy Revolutionary War was a thing, but here it is. So hell yeah.
They do a lot of like Grimm's Fairy Tale stuff. I'm not really into that, but I on the recommendation of the comic shop owner, and it was surprisingly good. I was really impressed with it. It was fun, and you don't see a lot of just fun comics anymore.
Yeah.
Savage, Mustafa the Savage. Max Bemis gonna die in a hole. It's like, wow, okay, all right.
He can. Yes, I very much agree.
There it is. So, Quiz, you got something for us?
Yes, I do. In keeping with the theme of the day, the spooky, scary. Mine is it's written and drawn and inked by Jonan Vasquez. Johnny the Homicidal Maniac.
Okay.
For those that don't know about Johnny the Homicidal Maniac, apparently you didn't grow up in the 90s and have never been inside of a Hot Topic. But I love this comic. I really do. It's funny. At the same time, it's dark and gory and little on the crazy side. You can tell Jonan Vasquez has a very particular kind of style. It's very much plays with the darks and the whites. There's no tones. Like, he doesn't do tone at all. All he does is just stark contrast, white and black. I personally find his humor to be dark and funny. There's also a reason why one of his most popular things that he ever made was Invader Zim for Nickelodeon. He's got a very particular style of humor that persists for, generations. If you've not read Johnny the Homicidal Maniac, don't let the Hot Topic comment dissuade you. It's actually fairly good.
Damn it. I don't know if I have time to read that tonight, but that sounds like a great Halloween read.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's only 7 issues was the floppy. I don't know how many pages were in each. Let's see here. Like I said, it's mostly it's just because it's funny. It's dark and it's funny. I would recommend over Johnny the Homicidal Maniac, though, if you want better humor and actual color. There's another series that he did called I Feel Sick, which is really, really good. But to really kind of get the grasp of what I Feel Sick is all about, you do kind of need to read Johnny the Homicidal Maniac. So,
okay, which leaves me now. As anyone who's been paying attention and has been watching, it's Frank Miller month here at Comic Book Curation.
Thank God it's going to be the last day of it.
Well, God damn it, Quiz. Put away the bitterness for one night. It's the last night, okay? Jeez. Quiz and I have different opinions on the works of Frank Miller. Jack, well, not as big a fan of I, at least can appreciate the man's artistry and talent.
Damn right.
So, being that this is the last night of Frank Miller month, there's really only one option I could have went with. It's predictable, but there's obvious. Dark Knight Returns. It had to be. It is, in my opinion, and this is my opinion, so shut up, Quiz. the greatest graphic novel ever written. There's been a lot of attempts in movies and in comic books following The Dark Knight Returns to deconstruct the superhero mythos. The whole idea of like what makes a superhero and taking apart and flipping characters into different positions than they were before, examining their psychology in a very deep way and pitting them against each other in a way where that has their mores challenged. It's never done finer and has never reached a status that I would honestly call literature than in Batman: The Dark Knight Returns. It is complex in a very big way, to the point where I won't attempt to describe the story in any kind of detail because we'll be here for too long. It is a page turner. It is engrossing. It is a lived in world that Frank Miller creates for Gotham. And he starts off in the most unexpected way for a Batman story. It's 10 years after Batman retires is the first page. And it's like, what? And Miller himself wanted to take the story on because I want to tell the death story of Batman. I love this line that he said. It's certain characters need to have an end to them. How many people have their great end at the Battle of the Alamo? What is their life story without that spectacular blaze of glory ending that they had at the Alamo? Davy Crockett, great story, coonskin cap, all of the things. How did he die, though? He didn't die a sad, lonely old man with nobody around him. No, he died in a blaze of glory at the Alamo. Well, he wanted to write that story for Batman. And this is The Dark Knight Returns. it runs a number. Originally, it was printed as 4 standalone issues, but it's been collected again and again and again. So used copies, guys, are available all over the place in different collected editions. The 10th anniversary, the 20th anniversary edition. It originally came out in 1986. To give you an idea of some of the art, and this is both written and drawn by Miller himself. This is the first page, and he makes very prolific use of the 12 panel page, as you see here, because there's so much information he's trying to get across.
16
panel page. The 16 panel page, yes. This is a great idea of where you see this is what's his name, Bruce Wayne, of course, in a motorcycle race, because he's become kind of a daredevil in his later years, and he's rushing towards his own death, trying to find a death. He retired from being Batman. How much of this is spoilers, Jack? Like, it's...
I wouldn't go too far into detail. People need to read it.
How about this part? Batman openly admits to... It's fascinating, the discussions between Superman and Batman in this, because they're much more realistically presented. They're not Batman and Superman to each other. They're Bruce and Clark. So that's how they talk to each other. Yeah. And he's like, Bruce, don't you realize that, you know, after we had defeated the criminals, and your response, Clark, we were criminals. We always were. He's admitting that as vigilantes, they were all behaving as criminals. Mm-hmm. It's just we were fighting the criminals that were actually worse than us, but that doesn't mean we weren't criminals.
Well, no, they were acting as sovereign citizens. Thank you. Well, am I being detained?
Am I being detained?
Article 4, free inhabitant.
Superman wasn't flying; he was traveling. What makes it a fascinating idea is that Superman, who's like the righteous one, the upstanding one, truth, justice, and the American way, is presented very much as the villain in this story. Well, villainous in this story. Not the bad guy exactly, but he's the one who forces...
He's the man.
Well,
he's the man. Yeah,
yes and no. I mean, what he's called back in to wrangle Batman into stopping his vigilante ways, but Batman kind of, like, he comes back, but then all the fucking villains start coming back too. Like, as soon as Batman starts coming out and fighting the mutants,
this is my pitch.
We're drifting towards spoiler territory as well.
Yeah. Okay. Here's the thing. Here's the thing, guys. You know, I give Polly a lot of shit about Frank Miller, but this is the only Frank Miller book that I own. So let that be a lesson to all of you. It actually is fairly good. I like The Dark Knight Returns.
Shit. Well,
I don't think it's the best Batman book ever written.
I'm scared too, Polly.
You're right. It's
but I do think it is the best Frank Miller book ever written.
You're wrong on both counts. It's the greatest comic book ever written. What? Okay, I figured out. I figured out a way I think I can explain the part of it. The age of superheroes is the age of supervillains is over. That's kind of what's happened. And well, the supervillains have been basically defeated and jailed and everything. The superheroes are still around. The president orders Superman to basically force them all into retirement, because Superman's going to take orders from the president, because truth, justice, and the American way. Of course he's going to. He's the big overgrown Boy Scout, as Bruce Wayne refers to him as. You're all, and Superman is powerful enough to do it. So he says, you guys are going to retire. And they're all like, yeah, what are we going to do? Fight Superman? Well,
Oliver Queen tries.
Well, hey, spoilers. You do, yeah. Oliver Queen, Green Arrow, plays a crucial aspect in this story, and a very cool one at that. You do have the supervillains that start returning. A gang of criminals called the Mutants have taken over Gotham. Batman feels the need to step back into the role as a 52-year-old man now. This surprising. I want to just show some of the art to entice those who are going to see it, who haven't read it, might have heard of it. Why is this worth reading? if we hold on, let me get over to the right page here. There we go.
Another quick thing here, Polly. I made sure that on Batman Day, when it was Harley Quinn's 25-year anniversary,
right,
that I got this comic book just because I love the parody of it.
Here at the top, you see 52-year-old Bruce Wayne sitting alone in Wayne Manor drinking. And this is Miller's storytelling excellence. And yeah, I know I'm fanboying for Miller, but here it's worth it. It's him remembering back to the moment in Crime Alley where his parents are shot. It's also him in the present and him thinking towards the future of why did I ever retire? And it's mostly told without dialogue of any kind or narration. You see, here he is with his parents. They're leaving Zorro. The gun comes out. And then you start seeing the imagery that has been used in movie after movie after movie. His father pushes him back. The shot is fired. The gun, the arm grabs the pearls, his mother's pearls. Martha! The pearls are broken. They fall to the ground. And again, it keeps cutting back to the present era of children are dying in the streets because of this mutant gang that's out there. And this is in Batman's thoughts. He's relating back to what caused him to become Batman in the first place. And as the pearls fall shattered to the ground, that one shot, why am I doing this? It's on that level of deep. It approaches the level of literature in my mind. I also just grabbed a couple of other random pages so I wouldn't have to flip through it continuously. The bat ultimately crashes through the window, reminding him of who he is and why he does what he does. And this is his moment of realizing, yeah, I need to don the cape one more time. It has to happen. This is Carrie Kelly, my favorite Robin of all the Robins. Shut up. A young girl decides to become Robin. She's not recruited. She forces her way into Batman's life. The old 55-year-old, 52-year-old returns.
Just
Batman.
like a woman. Well, I'm in charge now. I'm doing this.
And she really is that. She's precocious as fuck. She decides that, yeah, we need a Batman. The police are so corrupt, they're not doing anything. The gang of mutants is everywhere. What are we going to do? She ends up saving Batman's life here by dragging him away into the Batmobile. And that's the scene that you see here. And I love this moment so much where it's like, where did you learn to do a splint? And she's like, Girl Scouts. He's like, what's your name? Carrie Kelly. Robin. She doesn't know what she's doing.
She just nags him into being Batman again. That's what the lesson is.
She's just so precocious and so brave beyond her level of ability. It's just, that's why I love her character so much. She wants to be Robin as opposed to being trained to be Robin. And Batman recognizes that spirit of exuberance and bravery in her and eventually ends up accepting her in this role. It's great. And then this is probably the best page in the whole comic. When Batman and Robin take to the streets yet again. I have this as a t-shirt unashamedly, and I love it. Batman on horseback? Are you fucking kidding me? What more do you want? There's one moment in the comics where the lights go out, and this is where they stole the storyline for the second half of Dark Knight Rises. Well, Scribe, pay attention, Scribe.
It's not just the lights. It's like it's a whole blackout in Gotham.
Yeah, and it's so terror reigns, as it were, and anarchy reigns, and
that's
Batman,
an African American out thing.
So Batman goes to Wayne's stables and gets the horses, and we're going to go out there, and tonight I am the law, he announces, and yeah, it's just fantastic adventure. All of a sudden, Batman's like a sheriff from the Old West or something. He takes on Superman. There's the bat armor where they fight. I picked this page because at least it shows them fighting, but doesn't reveal what ends up happening, because that's of crucial importance. And I don't want it to spoil, because Superman says, no, you are not coming out of retirement. And Batman says, oh yeah, fuck you. And here you see the scenes from Dawn of Justice, Batman v Superman, with Batman in the bat armor. I don't want to say any more. I don't want to spoil any more.
Well, I'm going to say more, because there's no way that Batman would... Spoiler alert, he wins. Batman wins.
Of course he does.
There's no way that Batman would win if not for the Green Arrow. So just going to put that out there.
Well, it's true, because Batman is smart enough to, and that's how he defeats Superman, but he doesn't kill him, and it's complex. Like, I mean, we've all read it here, so we know how it ends. It is the death of Batman, but you leave the story on a very high note. To me, it's brilliant the way that the story is bookended at the beginning and bookended at the end. Bruce Wayne is seeking for a death that's, quote, good enough. And you find that line at the beginning and the end of the story. I need something that's good enough. And the last line that he says is good enough. And it's just excellent storytelling. And I am a huge fan, as you can obviously tell. If you read anything, read this. It's available used. It's available in digital download. Get it. I highly recommend it.
I got mine.
Synchronicity. You know what else is good enough? And it worked in tunnels? The Goonies. Batman is a secret Goonie. Goonies never say die. Batman never says die.
Yeah, well, you know, ironically speaking about that, well, I'm not going to say any more. You just got to read the comic to find out. I'm going to say I have my copy was from the 75th anniversary box set. It came with, in my opinion, a story that's better than Dark Knight Returns, Hush. But,
could have sworn you were going to go for All-Star there, but all right.
No. Good one. It comes with the weakest one, which was Court of Owls. But my favorite, which is Hush, and then Dark Knight Returns. All three fairly good stories. In my opinion, Hush is the best Batman story. I think I think it might be my second favorite. My first favorite is probably Long Halloween.
Oh, dude, I'm going to read Long Halloween tonight. Thank you for bringing that up. Great. Yeah. Long Halloween's awesome.
I was say, that's kind of a fourth pitch tonight. But yeah, if anyone is a Batman fan that hasn't read Long Halloween, you need to read Long Halloween.
Gotham by Gaslight is much better than Long Halloween.
Really?
Yeah.
I like Long Halloween, man.
Mike Mignola, whatever his name is, the Hellboy guy. Mm-hmm. Come on.
I don't know. I like Jeff Loeb as a writer.
Well, just to wrap up my individual pitch, like if you read Dark Knight Returns and you love it, and you should, because it's just so fucking good. There are two sequels to it. There's The Dark Knight Strikes Again, which is the Godfather 3 of comic books, in that it's awesome but badly misunderstood. And then
let's go with that.
Yeah. And then there's Dark Knight 3, The Master Race, which is pretty recent and just finished off. And it is super cool. It's, Carrie Kelly is Robin, and now she's like not a 14-year-old girl anymore. She's a woman now, and is more deeply involved in what's going on with Batman's one-man war on crime. And a great story, fantastically done. So there's sequels to it. Frank Miller's involved with all of them. Don't pay attention to the haters when they talk about Dark Knight Strikes Again. It actually is good. Just like Godfather 3, it's good. Don't pay attention to the haters.
It's good. It's just not the best one.
That's right. It's just it's the lowest quality of all three, but that doesn't mean it's not worth reading.
Good enough.
Nice. Okay, gentlemen, that wraps up our Halloween episode. So if you're here and still listening, thank you for following all the way through to the end. By all means, go have a drink, eat some candy, watch a scary movie, read The Long Halloween, or one of the comics that we pitched. Final thoughts. My final thoughts will, as they always are, read collected editions, read used editions, especially this, Dark Knight Returns, available in a fucking 1,000 different reprintings of it, and they keep reprinting it because it's fucking awesome. Yeah, there's lots of options for different stuff out there. Support your local comic book store by going and looking around. The people that work there, Jack used to run one. They know a lot about comics. Ask them about your genre interests. They'll be able to direct you towards used collected editions, and you can support your local comic book shop that way. Quiz.
As always, look for as those secondhand places. If comic book shops are a little bit too expensive to pay for retail, there's always, like a half price books. There will always have bargain bin sort of things, even in comic book shops. Those are the places where you can find those hidden gems that you can, really kind of latch on to and rekindle your interest in comic books.
Back.
Subscribe to my channel. I just put the link in chat, and yeah, go check out some 50-cent boxes like Quiz said, or go to flea markets and swap meets and find some cheap comics. It's a good way to and support indie publishers. Mainstream stuff kind of sucks.
Mainstream kind of sucks. It's not. There's still some good stuff going on in mainstream.
Pick up an X-Men book and get back to me next week.
Well, you son of a bitch. You had to bring up X-Men Gold that I just took out of my pull list. Like
I've heard X-Men Black is actually really good.
It's pretty hit and miss. The Juggernaut one was pretty good.
Yeah.
You're just falling off of what DNC says.
No, I read a lot of comics, dude.
I'm not.
I do a video every day.
I know. Which is the reason people should sub to bad comic reviews. It's definitely worth checking out. And if I, like Jack, could actually upload stuff over on BitChute, you could find me over there too. But they keep shutting me down, man. They won't let me upload my material. It pisses me off. Hold on. I'm just doing something here real quick before we close down. If you guys like what you have seen here, please feel free to like and subscribe. It really does help. If you haven't liked the channel already, please do so. If you're so inclined. Also, we talked a lot about the Umbrella Guy in this stream, and I'm going to put the link to his new channel, The Umbrella Guy, as he's rebuilding his channel after getting doxxed and flagged out of existence, sons of bitches that they are. Tug puts on a great show, definitely worth watching. And
not as worth watching as we are. So if he's ever on at the same time, we're way cooler.
Well, we are. I just didn't want to say that, but I think all of our viewers know.
Maybe someday we can get him on and get a little bit of a signal boost. That would be really cool.
It would be. Too bad he has no idea who the fuck we are.
Oh yeah.
No, he gave me a shout out before.
I mean, he's really interactive with his chat, and that was my inspiration to try and be as interactive with my chat as I could be, because I really love the way he runs his show. And I support him on Patreon. God damn it, he should be.
So you're gonna blackmail him to coming on our show? You're not getting that $1 if you don't show up.
How did you know how much I was giving him, you bastard? Also, if you guys, I always forget to mention this. If you guys want to follow us on Twitter, all of our links, all of our Twitter handles are in the description. You can always find them down there. But in the meantime and in between time, we will see you guys next time. Definitely next week. We're trying to organize something for this Friday, a special thing around Batman and Robin. We're going to see if it's going to work out. Still trying to get the planning down one way or another. And we got to do some more edited videos, man. We've been lazy on that.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
I do an edited video every day.
I meant we. I said we, not you.
Just checking.
So yeah, well, the major thing for us is that we try to break stuff down into like the minutia and be like crack jokes and all sorts of other stuff. So it takes a lot of time, but at the same time, a lot of the stuff that we're trying to crack jokes about is really bad. Not gonna say America Chavez #3, but America Chavez #3.
Yeah.
So yeah.
On that note, have a happy Halloween, everybody. Don't go read America Chavez 3 to scare you. That's too scary.
Yeah, that'll put you in a coma, man.
Yeah, that's painful.
Have a good night, everyone.
Happy Halloween.
Quiz, say goodbye.
Goodbye, Quiz.
Okay.